potatoes.
Today we're going to focus on making compost. Just using the resources around me, just available in the garden during the season, all brought together, making a really good food back for your garden. So we're here to feed our microbes in the soil and feed our plants, bring our natural health back to us. That's what we're here for. Firstly, we've got the chicken poo, we've got the green material, and we've got the carbonaceous material, the hard stalky material from the beans that I've just finished harvesting. We've also got our base nutrients here, a little bit of lime and, would you believe, some sulfur. Water your compost as you go until it is like a damp sponge after you've finished the dishes. If you underwater it, it will not break down, and months later when you go to use it, it will just look almost the same as it was when you put it down. So water is really important. Here in New Zealand, we have far too little carbon in our soils, and as a result, they're jammed up, they're constipated. It's as simple as that. They're not open to release all the nutrients back into the products that we're growing on. In order to carbon green, you should have about that much, 4 to 6 inches of the brown, and only that much of the green, and a very thin skin layer of your animal manure. Now, most people, when they're making compost, go the other way. They have far too much green waste coming out of their garden, far too little carbon, and lots and lots and lots of animal manure, which when they put in, they leave in lumps on their compost and they don't break down. And they wonder when they open up the compost, it's either A, smelly, or B, doesn't work when it hits the garden. Well, that's the reason why. Here in New Zealand we have two types of compost, two types of kelp that are really good. This is the bull kelp. Try and collect it off a rocky shore rather than a sandy shore, holding all of that salt. So I'm just going to add that loosely to the compost, and the good thing about kelp is that it brings up a whole lot of your micronutrients that we otherwise wouldn't be adding to the compost. I'm talking about things like selenium. Just keep the water coming between the layers. If you see the water pouring out the bottom of your compost, you know you've gone a bit far. But I haven't seen that ever yet. And this is usually one of the areas where people do not understand and do not get it right. They put far too little water on their compost. But this is just all the vines off an old set of green beans. It looks like a lot, but it's actually not. Go around and just keep the sides of the compost tidy. Other forms of carving you can use as hedge clippings. I use macrocarpet trimmings, rough grass that's been left to break down for a while. One of the best is to go under a stand of bush, just a few trees, a few bushes, and scrape together what's under there, all the rough leaves and twigs and stuff. That's really, really good organic matter. Poo, here we go. And this is the important part. Don't get too heavy-handed with the poo department. A lot of people I know love to use horse manure for this part of the game. Great. But please break it down, and the best way to break it down is have a frame with a bit of chicken wire over it and rub the poo through the chicken wire so it breaks it down into smaller lumps. Otherwise the lump will stay there for the entire year of your compost, and next year you'll still have a lump. Water that on. A lot of the farmers say NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. That's the basis for farming, but it should be NPK-S. NPK sulfur. Add the sulfur in as well. Not too much. Now if you're asking how much do I add, it's about 40 kilos per hectare. If you want to track that down, 4 grams per square metre. That is a tiny, tiny amount. So if we're going to sprinkle it in the compost, we only sprinkle a little. Okay, putting lime on the compost. It's remember, this is only one layer of the compost. We've had green, brown, nitrogen, a little bit of lime, a little bit of sulfur, and that's what we're going to do, repeat over and over again. You only want about 2 shots of sulfur per compost and maybe 3 layers of lime. And one of the good things about the lime is the worms love it. So I'm going to stop about here because this is a compost in progress.